She had trusted him because he had always been familiar, charming, and safe. Perhaps she had even loved him, though now she wondered whether she had merely loved the boy she believed he was. Everything changed when she found 3 red leather ledgers hidden inside his father's private study. Kara had been visiting the Hunter estate to finalize arrangements for the ceremony. While waiting alone, she noticed that one volume of Pack Law and Governance sat slightly farther forward than the others on the 3rd shelf. Behind it were the ledgers. The numbers inside did not match the official records. Investments listed on the pages did not exist. Money assigned to widows, orphaned pups, and elderly wolves had been diverted into false projects and private accounts. The Hunter family had been robbing the most vulnerable members of Crescent Moon Pack for years. Kara confronted Brent that same evening. She told him she would not accept his mark until every stolen coin was returned and every victim was compensated. Brent had smiled at her. It was the same charming smile he had worn when he proposed, but there was no warmth behind it now. "You're very noble, Kara," he had said, "and very foolish." The following morning, Brent suggested a carriage ride through the forest. He claimed they needed time alone to clear the tension before their ceremony. Kara had agreed because she wanted to believe he could change. She had wanted to believe the boy she had grown up with still existed somewhere inside him. Instead, Brent drove her toward the border between Crescent Moon Territory and the Northern Territories. He poisoned her with wolfsbane, broke her arm during the struggle, and threw her from the moving carriage. Her head struck a rock, her ribs cracked beneath her. Snow covered the blood before the carriage disappeared into the storm. Brent had planned everything. When Kara failed to return, he would claim that the carriage wheel had become trapped in the snow. He would say she had insisted on walking ahead and vanished in the storm. He would organize search parties in the wrong direction. Eventually, everyone would accept her death as a tragic accident. Her family would mourn. The mating ceremony would be cancelled. Brent would wait a respectable amount of time before choosing another bride, one who would not question him. The widows, orphans, and elderly wolves he had robbed would never know the truth. A heavy pounding suddenly echoed through the forest. Kara forced her eyes open. Those were not hoofbeats. They were paws. Massive paws. Her wolf stirred weakly beneath the wolfsbane, desperate to respond. Kara tried to call for help, but only a breathless sound escaped her throat. "Please. Please see me." A black wolf emerged from the tree line. He was enormous, nearly the size of a small horse, with thick dark fur and molten silver eyes. The pressure of his alpha power changed the air around him, making the frozen forest feel smaller. His gaze locked onto Kara. Then something struck her harder than the cold. Recognition. An ancient, instinctive pull that no wolf could mistake. The mate bond. "No," Kara whispered. "Anyone but him." The black wolf shifted while still moving. Bones cracked and reformed with controlled, effortless power. Within seconds, a man stood where the wolf had been, steam rising from his bare skin. He crossed to a supply pack hidden inside a hollow tree and pulled on dark trousers and a heavy shirt. Kara's fading vision found his face. Sharp features, dark hair touched with silver at the temples, eyes that looked almost human until his wolf surged behind them. Elias Collins, the Alpha King of the Northern Territories. His father had been killed by Crescent Moon wolves 20 years earlier during a border dispute that had never truly ended. According to pack legend, Elias had stood at his father's funeral and sworn that Crescent Moon would pay for every drop of northern blood it had spilled. Now that same Alpha King stood over Kara, his enemy's bride. His silver eyes widened as he recognized her scent. "You." The single word sounded like a growl. Kara watched the conflict unfold across his face. There was hatred rooted in 20 years of blood and loss. There was his duty as Alpha King to protect any wolf found inside his territory. And there was something stronger than either. The mate bond. The moon goddess had chosen the worst possible moment to reveal that Kara's fated mate, the one wolf created to match her soul, was the greatest enemy her pack had ever known. Elias remained motionless. His scent rolled over her, cedar and winter tangled with anger, disbelief, and something dangerously possessive. "Leave me," Kara tried to say. No sound came. Her wolf, despite the poison, gathered the last of her strength and reached toward him through the forming bond. "Mate, save us." Elias's jaw tightened until Kara heard his teeth grind. His eyes flashed from human brown to molten silver as his wolf fought for control. Then he made his decision. He dropped to one knee beside her. His hands moved over her injuries with surprising gentleness, checking her broken arm, damaged ribs, bleeding temple, and failing pulse. "Wolfsbane," he muttered when he caught the scent beneath the blood. His head snapped toward the forest. "Who did this?" Kara tried to answer, but her throat failed her. "Don't speak." Elias carefully tilted her face toward him. "Can you hear me? Blink once for yes." She blinked. "Good. You have a broken arm, damaged ribs, and severe hypothermia. The wolfsbane is suppressing your healing." His voice remained controlled, but his wolf's fury pressed through every word. "I'm going to lift you. It will hurt." He slid one arm beneath her knees, and the other behind her back. Pain exploded through Kara when he raised her from the snow. Her vision turned white, then gray. Darkness began closing over her. "No." Elias's command cut through the haze. "You will not die. Do you hear me? That is an alpha order." The force of his will crashed into Kara's mind. Her poisoned wolf instinctively submitted and fought to obey. Kara's eyes opened again. Her breath came in sharp, painful gasps. "That's it," Elias said. "Stay with me, little wolf. You do not get to die on my land." He carried her to a massive black stallion waiting beyond the trees. The horse remained still despite the scent of wolf and blood. Elias positioned Kara in the saddle, then mounted behind her. One arm held her securely against his chest. His warmth surrounded her. His scent filled her lungs. "Mate," her wolf sighed. "Safe. The nearest settlement is 15 kilometers away," Elias said. "Can you remain conscious that long?" "I'll try. Try harder. I did not find you just to watch you die." The journey dissolved into fragments. The warmth of Elias's body, the steady movement of the horse. His voice questioning her whenever her head began to fall. "What is your name?" "Kara." "Who attacked you?" She could not answer that question. The words would not form. "Stay with me, Kara." She must have lost consciousness before they reached the settlement, because the next thing she remembered was heat, light, and unfamiliar voices. A woman cried out when Elias carried her through the door of an inn. "Send for a healer," Elias ordered. "Bring hot water, dry blankets, and every dose of wolfsbane antidote you have." Kara was placed on a bed. Hands removed her wet ceremonial dress and covered her in warm linen. A healer arrived, set her arm, bound her ribs, and stitched the wound near her temple. Through the pain, she heard Elias speaking to the innkeeper. "She will need this room for at least a week. Send every expense to Thorn Ridge Manor. No one is to be informed of her presence without my permission. Is that understood?" Thorn Ridge Manor, the 300-year-old fortress that served as the Alpha King's seat of power. It was the last place any Crescent Moon wolf should ever enter. Kara tried to protest, but the darkness was too strong. The final thing she felt was a hand brushing gently over her hair. Then Elias whispered something she could not understand. Kara woke to firelight and silence. The room was small but clean. Her left arm had been splinted, and tight bandages supported her ribs. A dull ache throbbed through her head, but the poisonous fire of the wolfsbane had weakened. She was alive. She still did not know whether that was a blessing. "You're awake." Kara turned toward the window. Elias sat in a wooden chair, watching her. His dark coat was gone. He wore a white shirt beneath a fitted vest. The sleeves rolled to his elbows. The fire sharpened the angles of his face and reflected silver in his eyes. He looked like a man who had more important duties than guarding an injured stranger. Except Kara was no longer a stranger. The mate bond hummed quietly between them. Neither had accepted it, but the invisible connection remained. "How long?" she asked. "2 days. The healer says another hour in the cold would have killed you." "Thank you." The words felt painfully small. "You saved my life." "Yes." Elias rose, poured water from a pitcher and helped her sit high enough to drink. His touch was steady and impersonal. "Now you will tell me why I had to." Kara drank slowly, buying herself time. "I don't understand." "You were abandoned on a forest road during a snowstorm." Elias placed the glass down. "Your injuries suggest you were thrown from a moving carriage. Someone wanted you dead. Who?" Kara considered lying. There was little purpose in it. Elias would eventually discover the truth. Brent Hunter. Something cold passed through Elias's expression. "The beta of Crescent Moon Pack. Yes, you are the missing Crescent Moon bride." It was not a question. "The one who vanished 3 days before her mating ceremony. Your pack sent search parties." "Did they?" Kara laughed bitterly, and immediately regretted it when pain pulled through her ribs. "How thorough were those searches?" "Your beta told everyone you ran away. He claimed you became frightened by the responsibility of mating above your rank." Kara looked toward the fire. "That isn't what happened." "No," Elias said. "It isn't." She told him about the hidden ledgers. She explained how the hunters had stolen from widows whose mates had died in border conflicts, from orphaned pups, and from elderly wolves who depended on pack support. "When I confronted Brent, I told him I would not accept his mark unless he returned the money. He decided I had become a problem. And you still agreed to ride alone with him the following morning. I wanted to believe people could change." Kara met Elias's eyes. "I was wrong." Elias studied her for a long moment. Then he smiled. It was a small, cold expression that never touched his eyes. "You threatened to expose the Hunter family." "Yes." "Do you have proof?" "I saw the ledgers. I remember the names, dates, amounts, and false investments, but I do not have the physical records. You remember enough to damage them. If anyone believes me." Kara looked down at her bandaged arm. "I have no influential family and no political power. Brent will claim I am lying because I resented him. He will say I panicked before the ceremony, ran away and invented the accusations after I was found." Elias returned to his chair. "What if someone with unquestionable authority supported your claims?" "Who?" "Me." Kara's pulse quickened. "Why would you help me?" "Because I have spent 20 years trying to destroy Crescent Moon." His voice was quiet and absolute. "They killed my father in a border conflict they began, then blamed him for the violence. Since then, they have sabotaged treaties, weakened alliances, and cost my territory more lives than you can imagine." He leaned forward. "You possess information I need. You require protection they cannot penetrate." "What are you proposing?" Elias held her gaze. "Accept my mark. Become my Luna Queen." The room seemed to shift beneath Kara. "You cannot be serious." "I am always serious about strategy. You want to mark me? You accept my mark and become Luna Queen of the Northern Territories. Under my protection, Brent cannot reach you. You help me build a case against Crescent Moon. You testify about everything you remember, and together we dismantle the Hunter family." "That is insane." "It is practical." Elias rose and crossed to the window. "You have no family powerful enough to shelter you. If you return home, Brent will finish what he began. If you disappear, you will spend your life waiting for him to find you." He looked back at her. "As my mate and Luna, you will be beyond his reach." Kara tried to sit upright. Pain shot through her ribs. "You barely know me. I know enough. You chose conscience over safety. You challenged a powerful beta because innocent wolves were being harmed. You survived when he left you to die." His silver eyes narrowed. "I have spent years negotiating with wolves who speak endlessly and act only when it benefits them. You acted because it was right. I respect that. You do not love me. No. The answer came without hesitation. And I do not love you, Kara said. This is not a romance, Kara. It is an arrangement built on survival and strategy. Elias faced her fully. You will have private rooms at Thorn Ridge. We will maintain separate lives. In public, we will behave as a properly mated Alpha King and Luna Queen. In private, we will work together to destroy Crescent Moon. And if I refuse, I will pay for your recovery and leave you to choose your own path. His expression did not soften. But Brent believes you are dead. The moment you appear anywhere, he will learn otherwise. He will come for you, and the next time, I may not be there to find you. Silence filled the room except for the crackling fire. Kara remembered Brent's face as he pushed her from the carriage. She remembered the certainty that she would die alone while he returned home and played the grieving almost mate. She thought of the stolen widows' pensions, the emptied orphan funds, and the elderly wolves who would never know why their support had disappeared. Then, she looked at the Alpha King offering her a devil's bargain disguised as protection. If I agree, I want your word that we will pursue justice for the wolves they harmed, not only revenge. Elias turned toward her. You are negotiating while lying in a sickbed with broken bones. Those are my terms. Respect flickered across his face. Agreed. Justice, not only revenge. Anything else? I want the truth. What do you gain beyond political victory? Elias was silent. Then his eyes hardened. The hunters killed someone I loved 5 years ago, my younger sister. Kara's anger quieted. They made her death appear accidental. Her carriage went off a bridge during a storm. I have never been able to prove what they did. His voice remained controlled, but grief moved beneath it like ice under dark water. So yes, Kara Lawrence, I want revenge, but I will accept justice if that is what destroys them. Kara understood that kind of pain. One more condition: if I ever become a liability, or if protecting me places you in danger, you release me. That will not happen. Promise me anyway. Elias crossed to the bed and held out his hand. I promise. Do we have an agreement? Kara stared at his scarred knuckles. Brent had left her in the snow because he believed she was powerless. Elias was offering her a way to fight back. The mate bond pulsed, urging her to reach for him. Kara placed her hand in his. We have an agreement. His fingers closed around hers, firm and warm. Rest. When you are strong enough to travel, I will take you to Thorn Ridge. We have work to do. He released her and moved toward the door. Your Majesty. The title felt strange on her tongue. Elias stopped. Why were you on that road during the storm? For a moment, something almost vulnerable appeared behind his controlled expression. I was returning from my northern estates. That road is the fastest route, even in winter. He opened the door. I do not believe in fate, Kara, but I am grateful I chose speed over comfort that day. Then he left her alone with the fire and the consequences of her decision. She had been abandoned by a man who pretended to care. Now she had bound herself to a man who openly intended to use her as a weapon. Kara closed her eyes and hoped she had chosen the lesser danger. 4 days later, Kara sat inside a carriage, bearing the crest of the Northern Territories, a silver wolf howling toward a crescent moon. Every uneven section of road sent pain through her healing ribs. The healer had insisted she needed another week of rest. Elias had paid him twice his fee and ordered the carriage filled with cushions. The longer you remain at the inn, the more questions people will ask, Elias had said. Thorn Ridge is isolated, better protected and staffed by stronger healers. Now Kara was traveling toward a territory she had never entered, preparing to accept the mark of a man she barely knew. Elias rode beside the carriage. At regular intervals, he leaned toward the open window to make certain she was still comfortable. He had proven to be a careful guardian, impersonal, distant, and extremely thorough. He ensured she ate, took the healer's medicines, and rested. Yet he never touched her unless necessary, and never asked about her life beyond facts connected to Crescent Moon. It was like being protected by a highly efficient stranger who happened to be her fated mate. As sunset approached, the carriage climbed a hill. Thornridge Manor appeared in the valley below. Kara had expected a grand estate. She had not expected a fortress. Gray stone walls rose 4 stories above the landscape. Narrow windows overlooked miles of forest and snow-covered fields. The main structure was flanked by 2 wings, surrounding a broad courtyard where warriors trained with blades and bare hands. Everything about Thorn Ridge represented strength, history, and absolute control. "It's beautiful," Kara said when Elias reached the carriage door. "It is defensible." He opened the door. "My ancestors built it during the Great Pack Wars 300 years ago. We have held it ever since." He offered his hand. "Can you walk?" "I can try." Elias steadied her waist as she climbed down. The moment her feet reached the ground, the manor doors opened. Pack members streamed into the courtyard. Kara froze. "I thought this would remain private." "The marking will be private. The pack still needs to meet the wolf who will become their Luna." He offered his arm. "Remember this. You are not a victim standing before them. You survived what should have killed you. Carry yourself like it." Kara took his arm. Her ribs protested as she straightened, but she raised her head and walked forward. At least 40 wolves formed 2 lines. Some were old warriors covered in scars. Others were young pups who had barely reached shifting age. A woman with steel-gray hair stood at the front. Her posture was as rigid as her expression. "Ah, Your Majesty." She bowed precisely. "Welcome home." "Luella," Elias acknowledged. "This is Kara Lawrence. She will become Luna Queen within the week. She is recovering from an attack and requires care. See that she receives it." Luella examined Kara's splinted arm, fading bruises and guarded movements. A flicker of approval softened her eyes. "Of course, Your Majesty. Welcome to Thorn Ridge, Miss Lawrence. We are honored to serve you." "Thank you, Luella. I look forward to learning from everyone here." It was a simple answer, but several wolves exchanged approving glances. "Your rooms have been prepared in the East Wing," Luella said. "Anything you need will be provided." Elias released Kara's arm. "Rest tonight. Tomorrow, we will discuss the arrangements." He walked away before she could answer, disappearing into the manor as if their exchange were already complete. Luella cleared her throat. "This way, miss." The interior of Thorn Ridge matched the fortress outside. Stone walls, dark wood, battle tapestries and portraits of severe-looking alphas stretched through generations of northern rule. Luella guided Kara up a wide staircase and into the eastern wing. "The Alpha King occupies the west wing," she explained. "You will usually find him in his study during the day or the library after dinner. He values privacy." "What does he value in a Luna?" Luella stopped with one hand on the door. For the first time, uncertainty crossed her face. "Honestly, miss, I do not know. We have never had one." She opened the door. "His father died before finding his fated mate. Elias has rejected every match proposed by the council." Kara entered the suite. It was larger than the entire house where she had grown up. A fire warmed the sitting room. Deep blue curtains surrounded a 4-poster bed. Beyond it waited an empty dressing room and a private bathing chamber with a large copper tub. "This is overwhelming." "You will adjust." Luella added wood to the fire. "The Alpha King has arranged for a seamstress to visit tomorrow. You will need clothing appropriate to your position. He has also selected instructors in pack law, territory management, and combat. How much time do I have?" 6 weeks before the next Interpack Council meeting. You will be formally presented there as Luna Queen. 6 weeks to become one? 6 weeks to look like one, Luella corrected. Becoming one takes much longer. She moved toward the door. "If I may speak plainly, the Alpha King does not make careless decisions. If he brought you here, he believes you can fulfill this role. Do not prove him wrong." After Luella left, Kara sat on the edge of the bed. Her head pounded, her ribs ached, her arm throbbed inside the splint. But she was warm, alive, and protected. Through the window she could see the distant forest and the road where she had nearly died. Brent believed the snow had buried her. Good. He could continue believing it while she became something he would never be able to control. A knock sounded at the door. "Come in." A young Omega entered carrying a tray. She appeared no older than 20, and kept her eyes respectfully lowered. "Luella sent your dinner, miss. The Alpha King also asked me to give you this." She held out a small leather-bound book. After the Omega left, Kara opened it. The pages were filled with Elias's precise handwriting. "Kara, the next 6 weeks will be difficult. I am not a patient teacher, and my expectations are high, but I believe you are capable of meeting them. These pages contain the history, laws, and customs of Thorn Ridge, as well as the duties expected of a Luna Queen. Study them. Your survival depends on understanding the world you are entering. We will dine together every evening. We will use that time to review your progress and coordinate our case against Crescent Moon. Remember our agreement. You help me destroy them. I keep you safe. Everything else remains negotiable. Elias." Kara closed the book. 6 weeks to learn the history of an entire territory. 6 weeks to become worthy of standing beside an Alpha King. 6 weeks before she faced the wolves who had tried to kill her. Brent had pretended to love her. Elias had never pretended anything. Somehow, that made him the more honest danger. The next 3 weeks became a blur of lessons, exhaustion, and bruised pride. An elderly she-wolf named Ula Leonard taught Kara pack history and law. She drilled her on treaties, borders, and the complicated network of alliances that prevented open war. Roderick Boyd, a battle-scarred warrior, trained her in combat. Kara's ribs had barely healed when he put her on the training floor. "A Luna protects through cunning," Roderick said after throwing her onto the mat for the 10th time. "Your enemies will not offer mercy. Stop fighting fairly." Luella taught her how to manage pack resources, organize hunts and ceremonies, settle disputes, and keep the territory functioning, while the Alpha King dealt with politics and war. Every evening, Kara dined with Elias. At first, they sat at opposite ends of a table designed for 20 wolves. He asked what she had learned. She reported her progress. They discussed the financial crimes committed by Crescent Moon and how to expose them. Their conversations were professional, strategic, and almost entirely without warmth. The mate bond did not care. As Kara recovered, the connection grew stronger. Whenever Elias entered a room, her wolf immediately became alert. His scent of cedar and winter filled her with an instinctive sense of safety. Mate. Home. Elias never acknowledged the pull. He maintained his distance and touched her only when necessity demanded it. On the 21st evening, he set down his fork. "Tell me about the ledgers again." Kara had learned that Elias repeated questions to test for inconsistencies and uncover forgotten details. They were hidden on the 3rd shelf of Alpha Hunter's private study, behind a copy of Pack Law and Governance. 3 red leather volumes covering 5 years of investments. "What was the largest theft you saw?" "Dina Avila's widow pension. 50,000 coins supposedly invested in silver mines in the Western Mountains. The money was actually diverted to pay the Hunter family's private debts." Elias recorded the information in the small notebook he always carried. "Dina has influence among several border packs. If we prove that theft, others will listen." "How do we prove anything without the ledgers?" Kara asked. "We need bank records, witnesses, and patterns of similar transactions. You have been considering this." "For weeks." She leaned forward. "And we need to place me before wolves whose opinions matter. Once I am established as Luna Queen, my testimony will carry more authority. It becomes harder to dismiss me as a bitter rejected bride when I am marked by the Alpha King. So you understand the strategy." "I understand that I am bait." "An asset," Elias corrected. "Is there a difference?" "Bait is disposable. Assets are protected." His gaze held hers. "Which do you believe I would fight for?" It was not affection, but it sounded like a promise. "The marking ceremony will take place at the full moon," he continued. 5 days from now. Afterward, Brent and Crescent Moon will have no legal claim over you. And then? We accelerate our plan. Your first public appearance will be the Interpack Council meeting 3 weeks later. He paused. Crescent Moon will be there. Kara's stomach tightened. You want me to face Brent? I want you standing beside me as Luna Queen, while he watches the wolf he discarded become someone he can never touch. Elias's voice remained cold and controlled. You will hold your head high and show every wolf in that chamber that you survived him. What if he attempts something? He will not publicly, not in my presence. His eyes flashed silver. But he will know you are alive. That knowledge will destroy his peace. That night, Kara stood at the window while snow drifted over the gardens. In 5 days, she would accept Elias's mark and bind herself permanently to him. She should have been terrified. Instead, anger and determination burned together inside her. Brent had believed she was weak. It was time to prove how catastrophically wrong he had been. A knock sounded after midnight. Come in. Elias entered. He had never visited her rooms before. He wore dark trousers and a loose shirt. His hair looked disordered, as if he had been running his fingers through it. Can't sleep? He asked. No. You? I rarely sleep much. He joined her near the window but left a careful distance between them. Are you frightened by the ceremony? Should I be? Most wolves are. A true marking is permanent. Once completed, it cannot be reversed. Kara studied him. Do you want to reverse our arrangement? No. It benefits us both. You gain protection and justice. I gain the weapon I need to destroy the wolves who have poisoned my territory for decades. Is that all I am to you? A weapon? Elias turned. Something shifted across his expression before he concealed it. You are my fated mate, Kara. The moon goddess chose you for me despite every logical reason she should not have. He stepped closer. You come from my enemy's pack. You are connected to a corruption case that could begin a war, and you are stubborn enough to negotiate with an Alpha King while barely alive. A faint smile touched his mouth. So no, you are not only a weapon, you are also a complication I never expected, and do not know how to manage. Her wolf stirred. You feel the bond as strongly as I do, every second. His voice roughened. My wolf wants to claim you, mark you, and keep you close. My human mind knows that surrendering to that need would make me vulnerable. And you refuse to be vulnerable. I cannot afford it. I am the Alpha King. I have enemies who search constantly for weaknesses. He looked away. If they knew how deeply this bond affected me, they would use you against me. So you remain distant. I keep you safe. Elias's words echoed what he had told her before. There is a difference. Kara watched the tension in his shoulders. What happened to your sister? He went still. You said the hunters killed her. Tell me. For several breaths, Kara expected him to refuse. Then he spoke. Her name was Isla. She was 5 years younger than me. Kind, gentle, and entirely unlike the generations of warriors and politicians who raised us. His gaze returned to the snow. She fell in love with a wolf from a neutral pack. Aaron Darling. He was honorable and loved her in return. What did Crescent Moon have to do with them? Alpha Hunter had already decided Aaron would mate his daughter, Angelita. When Isla refused to step aside, her carriage went off a bridge during a storm. Elias's fingers tightened against the window frame. The driver survived. He claimed the wheel had been tampered with and that he smelled Crescent Moon wolves near the bridge. He was only a servant, so the council dismissed his testimony. What did the hunters say? They produced witnesses who claimed Isla had been drinking and driving recklessly. The council ruled her death an accident. His eyes turned silver. I have spent 5 years trying to prove it was murder. I'm sorry. Do not be sorry. Help me make them answer for it. He looked at her. That is why you are here, to become the weapon I have needed. Kara heard the pain beneath the cruelty of his words. What if I want to be more than a weapon? Elias froze. What do you mean? Kara crossed the space between them. What if I want to fight beside you, not merely for you? What if I want to share the burden, rather than being a tool you aim at your enemies? His wolf reacted to her nearness. Silver flooded his eyes. You saved my life, Elias. You gave me protection when you could have left me in the snow. This began as strategy, but it does not have to remain only that. She held his gaze. Let me matter. For a long moment, Elias said nothing. Then he raised one hand and cupped her cheek. The touch sent power through the mate bond. Both of them drew in a sharp breath. You already matter more than you should, he said. That is the problem. Then he kissed her. There was nothing controlled about it. Weeks of resistance shattered at once. His hand moved into her hair, drawing her closer as the mate bond flared between them. Kara kissed him back. Her wolf surged forward with a cry of satisfaction. When they separated, both were breathing hard. Elias's eyes remained fully silver. That was not planned. Was it unwelcome? No. He stepped back and dragged a hand through his hair. But it complicates the arrangement. Everything about us is already complicated. True. His gaze moved to the bare skin above her collar. The ceremony is in 5 days. After it, you will be mine in every way that matters, legally, socially, and through the bond. Are you prepared for that? Are you? I do not know. The honesty surprised her. I have spent 20 years refusing to let anyone close enough to become a weakness. Now the moon goddess is binding me to someone who makes me want things I stopped believing I could have. What things? Partnership, trust, someone who stands with me without pursuing a hidden agenda. Elias moved toward the door. Rest. The next days will be difficult. Elias. He glanced back. Thank you for telling me about Isla. His expression softened. She would have liked you. You are stubborn in the same way she was, braver than good sense allows. After he left, Kara touched her lips. 5 days remained until the marking. 5 days until she bound herself to a wolf who was becoming more than her protector. The ceremony took place beneath the full moon in a clearing where Northern Territory alphas had claimed their mates for 3 centuries. Kara waited among the trees in a traditional white gown. The fabric left her shoulders bare for the mark. Silver cuffs engraved with the northern sigil circled her wrists, and her hair fell loose down her back. Beyond the trees stood an ancient stone altar. More than 200 wolves formed a wide circle around it. Luella appeared and adjusted the gown one final time. Nervous? Terrified. Good. That means you understand what you are choosing. Luella's voice softened. Once you mark one another, you will feel his pain, joy, and anger. He will feel yours. Nothing important can be hidden inside a completed mate bond. I know. Do you love him? Kara hesitated. I respect him. I trust him. I feel the bond pulling me toward him every moment. But love arrives in its own time, Luella said. Sometimes before the mark, sometimes after, sometimes it grows so quietly that you do not recognize it until it has already changed you. She smiled. I suspect that will be true for both of you. Drums and flutes began playing the ancient claiming rhythm. Luella squeezed Kara's hand. Go. Your mate is waiting. Kara entered the clearing. Every face turned toward her. She felt curiosity, suspicion, and approval pressing from the gathered pack, but she kept her spine straight and her head high. Elias waited beside the altar. He wore only ceremonial black trousers. Scars from old battles crossed his chest and shoulders. His eyes remained fixed on Kara as if no one else existed. His beta, Jesse Tyler, stood beside him as a witness. Ula Leonard stood on the opposite side as pack shaman. Elias offered his hand when Kara reached the altar. The moment their fingers met, the bond brightened. Ula's voice carried through the clearing. Beneath the witness of the moon goddess, and this assembled pack, Alpha Elias Collins claims Kara Lawrence as his fated mate. Does any wolf challenge this bond? Silence answered. No wolf could challenge a connection chosen by the moon goddess. Ula turned to Kara. Kara Lawrence, do you accept this alpha as your mate? Do you bind your wolf to his, accept his mark and offer your own in return? One word would change the rest of her life. Kara looked into Elias's silver eyes. She felt his wolf waiting, restrained only by his will. I accept. The pack's howl shook the trees. Elias moved toward her with predatory grace. He framed her face between his hands. Mine, he growled softly. Then he kissed her. The bond erupted like lightning. Kara felt her wolf rise, and Elias's wolf answer. Two halves of a severed connection locked into place with such force that she nearly lost her breath. When they pulled apart, Elias's eyes glowed silver, and Kara's burned gold. Shift, Ula commanded. Kara released her wolf. Her body transformed into a white wolf, built for speed rather than size. Elias shifted beside her. His black wolf towered over hers, radiating such overwhelming dominance that the watching wolves instinctively lowered their heads and exposed their throats. The entire pack shifted and howled beneath the moon. Elias circled Kara. Her wolf lowered herself and offered her throat, not in fear, but in trust. His jaws closed gently over her pulse. His teeth pierced her skin. Magic burned through her blood as his scent fused permanently with hers. His claim sank into her soul until every part of her recognized him. Then Elias lowered his head. An alpha king submitting his throat was rare and sacred. Kara marked him in return. Her teeth found the junction between his neck and shoulder. His blood tasted of cedar, winter, and home. Silver light burst across the clearing as the bond completed. When they returned to human form, matching crescent-shaped scars glowed faintly on their throats. The Alpha King and his Luna Queen, Ula announced, bound by fate, marked by choice, witnessed by the pack, and blessed by the moon goddess. The wolves howled again. Invisible threads connected Kara to every member of the Northern Territory. Their needs, loyalty, and trust entered her awareness. She was no longer only Kara Lawrence. She was their Luna Queen. Every wolf in the territory was now hers to guide, protect, and fight for. Elias's hand found hers. Through the bond, she felt his pride, satisfaction, and a carefully hidden emotion she had never expected from him: hope. The celebration continued until dawn, but Kara and Elias left after the first hour. Tradition allowed newly mated wolves privacy. They walked to Thorn Ridge in silence, while the completed bond pulsed between them. Kara could feel Elias's satisfaction, desire, and powerful possessiveness. At the foot of the main staircase, Elias stopped. "Your rooms are in the east wing. Mine are in the west. You may remain in yours tonight if you prefer." Kara stared at him. "We just marked each other before 200 wolves, and you are offering separate rooms? I am offering you a choice." His eyes flashed silver. "The bond is complete, but it does not create an obligation to do anything you are not ready for. I will not force you." Even after the ceremony, Elias was still giving her control. Kara's wolf made the decision before her mind could overthink it. She took his hand. "Show me your rooms." Desire surged through the bond. "Are you certain?" "We are mated, Elias. Bound for life. I'm certain." He led her to the west wing. The moment the bedroom door closed, his restraint vanished. He pressed her against the wood and kissed her with raw, claiming hunger. Kara answered with equal intensity, her wolf finally receiving what she had craved since their first meeting. "I have wanted you since the forest," Elias said against her throat. "From the instant my wolf recognized your scent. Then stop resisting." What followed was intense and instinctive, the mate bond amplifying every touch and emotion. Hours later, Kara lay against Elias's chest while his fingers moved gently through her hair. "No regrets?" he asked. "None." She traced the mark she had placed on his throat. "Only that I did not find you sooner." Elias raised her chin. "I know this began as a bargain, but what I feel through this bond, and what I am beginning to feel for you, is real." I feel it too. The admission frightened her. Elias sensed it immediately. Why are you afraid? Everyone I trusted eventually used me. My parents treated me as a means to improve the family status. Brent valued my connections and tried to kill me when I became inconvenient. She looked away. How do I know you will not do the same? Elias placed her palm against his chest. Feel my heartbeat through the bond. You will know if I lie. He held her gaze. I swear I will never use you and discard you. You will never be convenient or disposable to me. His voice deepened. You are my mate and my Luna. I will protect you with everything I possess, not because it benefits me, but because losing you would destroy me. The truth moved through the bond without disguise. Kara felt his fierce devotion and absolute certainty. All right, she whispered. I believe you. They fell asleep with their bodies tangled together and the mate bond finally at peace. The next 3 weeks transformed their arrangement. Kara devoted herself to becoming Luna Queen. Luella taught her to manage resources, settle disputes, and ensure every family in the territory received what it needed. Roderick continued her combat training. You are a greater target now, he warned after Kara successfully pinned him for the first time. Any wolf who wishes to hurt the Alpha King will come through you. Learn to protect yourself. Ula trained her in political authority. As Luna Queen, your command carries the Alpha King's weight. Use that power with care. Kara and Elias no longer sat at opposite ends of the dining table. They ate side by side. Their discussions expanded beyond strategy. They shared details of their days, frustrations, and hopes. The bond taught them to recognize each other's moods. Elias appeared during Kara's training when frustration threatened her concentration. He brought tea when the weight of pack law overwhelmed her. When nightmares of snow and wolfsbane woke her, he held her until the shaking stopped. They were becoming true partners. 20 days after the marking, Elias placed a letter on the breakfast table. The Interpack Council meeting begins in 3 days. Crescent Moon has confirmed attendance. Kara's stomach tightened. So we are truly doing this. We are. Elias reached for her hand. Are you ready? I have prepared, but facing Brent is different. What if I freeze when I see him? Then remember the snow. Remember every widow, orphan, and elder he stole from. Remember that he abandoned you because he believed you had no power. Elias squeezed her fingers. And walk into that chamber as Luna Queen of the Northern Territories, living proof that he failed. He will try to discredit me. Yes, he will call you unstable, bitter, and dishonest. You will remain calm while he loses control. We have bank records, witness testimony, and evidence of financial patterns. Will that be enough? It must be. Elias's eyes hardened. Because if the council refuses to act, I will. And that will mean war. Kara knew he meant every word. Let us hope the council chooses justice. Let us hope. 2 days before their departure, everything changed again. Kara was practicing defensive movements in wolf form when shouting erupted near the main gate. She shifted, dressed quickly, and ran toward the disturbance. A young Omega stood surrounded by guards. Her clothes were torn, bruises covered her face, and she was begging to speak with the Luna Queen. Let her pass, Kara commanded. The guards obeyed immediately. The Omega collapsed at Kara's feet. Please, Your Majesty, you must help us. Who needs help? Crescent Moon Wolves. Beta Brent is purging everyone who might testify. 3 families vanished during the past week. He calls them traitors, but he is trying to eliminate witnesses. Cold spread through Kara. Which families? The Avilas, the Campos, and the Rojas. The Omega seized Kara's hand. My sister is married to Greg Campos. She is carrying their first pup. Brent's trackers are hunting them. Where are they? Hiding in the neutral zone. Rogues control that land. They cannot remain there. Kara turned. Roderick. The old warrior appeared. Gather 20 armed wolves. We are going to the neutral zone. Your Majesty, you cannot. They are innocent wolves under attack by our enemy. I will not leave them to die. She released the full authority of her Luna command. Gather the patrol. Roderick bowed. Luella hurried into the courtyard. The Alpha King is meeting with the territory lords. He has not been informed. Then, inform him. Kara headed toward the armory. I am not waiting for permission. By the time Elias stormed into the courtyard, Kara was armed and mounted with 20 warriors. What do you think you are doing? Alpha power rolled through his voice. Most wolves would have submitted instantly. The mate bond made a Luna partially resistant to her Alpha's commands, so she could challenge him when necessary. I am rescuing families Brent is hunting before they can testify. Send the patrol. You do not need to lead it yourself. I am their Luna. They risked everything to seek our protection. I will meet them halfway. Elias's jaw tightened. Through the bond, Kara felt fear and anger battling with pride. Fine, I am coming with you, and we take 50 warriors. Elias. Those are my terms. Accept them, or I will order every wolf here to stand down. Kara knew he would. 50, but we leave immediately. Within the hour, they were riding toward the neutral zone with 50 Northern Territory warriors. I had to do this, Kara said as they traveled. I know. That does not mean I enjoy watching you ride into danger. I am not the dying wolf you found in the snow. No. Elias glanced at her. You are the Luna Queen who places herself between danger and her pack. You are magnificent, terrifying, and making it very difficult for me not to lock you in a tower. Kara smiled despite the tension. I would escape. I know. It is one of the things I love about you. He fell silent as if only then realizing what he had said. You love me? Elias looked ahead. Yes, I did not intend to, but I love you, Kara. Your strength, courage, and complete refusal to remain safe when your wolves need you. He reached over and briefly touched her hand. We will discuss this after the families are secure. After, Kara whispered. Warmth flooded through their bond. They found the refugees before nightfall. 3 families were huddled inside a cave, terrified and exhausted. When Kara's white wolf led the patrol into view, Dina Avila began crying. Your Majesty, we did not know whether anyone would come. Of course I came. Kara shifted. You are under Northern Territory protection now. We are taking you to Thorn Ridge. What about the council? Greg Campos asked. If we testify, Brent will. He will do nothing, Elias said. His voice carried unquestionable authority. Any wolf who touches you will answer to the Alpha King. The rescue appeared almost too easy. Halfway back to Northern Territory, Kara's instincts screamed. Ambush! 20 crescent moon wolves burst from the trees. Northern warriors engaged them while Kara and Elias placed themselves between the attackers and the refugees. Kara shifted and launched herself at a large brown wolf wearing crescent moon colors. She fought with everything Roderick had taught her, using speed, angles, and ruthless precision. Through the bond, she felt Elias nearby, his fury tearing through enemy wolves. Then she saw Brent. In tawny wolf form, he was circling toward the refugees. Their eyes met. Shock stopped him. Kara was supposed to be dead beneath the snow. Instead, she stood marked as Luna Queen, leading warriors to protect the very witnesses Brent wanted silenced. Kara howled a challenge. I survived, and I am coming for you. Brent hesitated. Then Elias's massive black wolf appeared beside Kara, radiating deadly intent. Brent turned and fled. His remaining warriors followed him across the border. The battle ended within minutes. 3 northern wolves were injured, but none were killed. Every refugee remained safe. Elias shifted and immediately examined Kara. Are you hurt? Only scratches. Did you see Brent? Yes. He knows you survived now. Elias drew her against him. Through the bond, Kara felt his relief. The council meeting just became much more interesting. The Grand Hall of the Neutral Territories had been built so packs could settle disputes without bloodshed. Ancient treaties made the land sacred. No pack owned it, and violence within its boundaries was forbidden. 20 packs had sent alphas, betas, lunas, and advisors to the council meeting. Kara stood in a preparation chamber beside the hall, smoothing her midnight blue gown for the 10th time. A silver circlet rested in her hair. Elias's mark remained visible on her throat. "You look beautiful," Elias said. He wore formal black with the northern crest embroidered in silver over his chest. And terrifying. A useful combination. Kara exhaled. "I'm nervous." "Good. It means you understand the stakes." He took her hand. "We enter together. Let them see you as my mate and Luna. Protected and untouchable. When the moment comes, I will request an investigation. You will testify, and the refugees will support your account. And if the council refuses, we will still have created a public record. Every pack harmed by Crescent Moon will demand an audit. Their reputation will collapse." His eyes turned cold. "But the council will act. I will make certain of it." Jesse appeared at the door. "Everyone has assembled. Crescent Moon arrived moments ago." Satisfaction passed through the bond. "Perfect," Elias said. "Give them time to settle, then announce us." 5 minutes later, the herald's voice echoed through the chamber. "The Alpha King of the Northern Territories and his Luna Queen." The hall fell silent. Elias entered first. Kara followed with her hand resting on his arm and her head held high. Hundreds of eyes turned toward the mysterious Luna who had appeared without warning. Then Kara caught Brent's scent. He stood across the hall with his father, Alpha Rolando Hunter, and his mother, Bridget Hunter, the wolf many believed held the true power within Crescent Moon. Brent's face lost all color. Even from that distance, Kara saw shock turn into fear. "Good. Let him be afraid." Rolando concealed his reaction more carefully. Bridget's narrowed eyes revealed that she was already calculating every possible consequence. Council head Gerard Sparks stood from the central table. "Alpha King Elias, Luna Queen Kara, welcome." "The honor is ours," Elias replied. He guided Kara to the seats nearest the council table. "May I present my mate, formerly of Crescent Moon Pack." Whispers spread through the hall. Gerard looked between them. "I was unaware of this connection. Our ceremony was private, as is our right," Elias said. "We are pleased to introduce her now." Alpha Rolando rose. "Council head, this situation is highly irregular. The wolf claimed by the Alpha King was betrothed to my son. She disappeared under suspicious circumstances before their ceremony, and now returns as the Luna Queen of our greatest political rival." He addressed the room. "Surely everyone sees how this appears." "How does it appear?" Elias asked. "Like a deliberate attempt to humiliate my family and manipulate council politics." "Or," Kara said, rising, "it appears that I survived an assassination attempt and sought protection from the only alpha powerful enough to keep me alive." The hall erupted in whispers. Gerard raised one hand. "Those are serious words, Luna Queen." "They are serious because they are true." Elias stood beside her. 3 days before I was scheduled to accept Brent Hunter's mark, I found proof that his family had systematically stolen pack funds. Kara kept her voice calm and factual. "When I demanded restitution, Brent poisoned me with wolfsbane, threw me from a moving carriage and abandoned me in a snowstorm." Brent surged to his feet. "She is lying." "Then explain the wolfsbane in her blood when I found her," Elias said. "Explain the broken arm, damaged ribs, hypothermia, and injuries consistent with being thrown from a carriage." "It was an accident." "What accident?" Elias asked with open contempt. "Did she poison herself and leap from a carriage in the middle of nowhere?" Bridget stood. "Council head, the girl has clearly been manipulated. The Alpha King has hated Crescent Moon for decades. He would believe any accusation that supports his grudge." "Is seeking justice for murder a grudge?" Elias asked. "Your pack killed my sister and disguised it as an accident." Gerard's expression tightened. That case was closed 5 years ago. We cannot reopen it without new evidence. Then let us address the evidence before us. Elias looked around the hall. Kara witnessed financial records showing false investments and stolen money. Funds intended for widows, orphans, and elderly wolves disappeared into hunter accounts. The word of one wolf proves nothing, Rolando said. What about 3 families? Kara asked. The doors opened. The Avilas, Campos, and Rojas families entered. Dena Avila stepped forward first. Beta Brent stole 50,000 coins from my late mate's pension. When I questioned the missing returns, I was threatened. Last week, his enforcers came to my home and accused me of treason. I escaped with my life. Greg Campos followed. Money left by my grandfather for his descendants was diverted to cover Hunter family debts. I have transfer records. One by one, the refugees testified. Every account described stolen funds, ignored questions, and recent threats intended to silence them. When they finished, the hall was completely quiet. Gerard faced Rolando. Your response? Disgruntled wolves blaming their leaders for personal failures. His voice lacked conviction. 3 families fled in fear, Elias said. More may be too frightened to come forward. You still have no objective proof, Bridget argued. Actually, a voice said from the rear of the chamber, we have a considerable amount. Randy Carpenter, the council's chief investigator, entered carrying a leather satchel filled with documents. Council head, 3 weeks ago, you asked me to conduct a preliminary review after several PACs reported irregularities connected to Crescent Moon investments. He opened the satchel. I found falsified returns, diverted funds, non-existent projects, and systematic fraud covering 5 years. He placed ledgers, bank records, and correspondence before the council. This is not speculation. It is documented embezzlement on a massive scale. Chaos exploded. Alphas demanded explanations, while the Crescent Moon delegation struggled to answer. Gerard struck the table repeatedly. Order! When the chamber quieted, he stared at Rolando. I am ordering a complete investigation into Crescent Moon's finances. You and your son will surrender every record within 7 days. This is a witch hunt, Rolando protested. This is justice. Gerard's voice hardened. Refusal will place Crescent Moon in violation of Interpac law. Consequences may include trade restrictions, loss of territory, and removal of your leadership. He turned to Brent. Beta Brent Hunter, you will remain in council custody during the investigation into fraud, embezzlement, and attempted murder. Guards approached. No. Brent's eyes flashed yellow. He shifted and ran toward the exit. He took only 3 steps. Elias transformed into his black wolf and struck him from the side. They crashed onto the stone floor. The sacred ground laws prohibited violence, but no one intervened. An alpha defending his mate from the wolf accused of murdering her fell within his right of protection. The fight ended quickly. Elias pinned Brent beneath him, his jaws locked against the back of Brent's neck. Yield. The word emerged distorted through his wolf form but carried enough authority to shake the room. Brent stopped struggling and submitted. Elias held him for several breaths before releasing him. He shifted and dressed with deliberate calm. Brent Hunter attempted to murder my mate after poisoning her with wolfsbane. Pack law grants me the right to claim blood justice. Gerard spoke carefully. Your Majesty, the council investigation should be allowed to proceed. I am not claiming that right today. Elias's gaze swept over every alpha present. But understand this. If the council fails to deliver justice, I will pursue it myself. Any pack that interferes will be choosing a side in a war it cannot win. No one doubted him. Kara moved beside Elias and took his hand. Council head, the families who fled Crescent Moon require protection during the investigation. I request temporary sanctuary status. Granted, Gerard said. Any wolf who harms those witnesses will answer to this council. The meeting ended. As Kara and Elias approached their carriage, Elias pulled her aside. That was the easy battle. Brent is in custody. His parents are not. Rolando and Bridget will not accept humiliation quietly. What will they do? They will attack what matters most to me. He touched her cheek. You. Fear moved through Kara, but she refused to let it take control. Then we prepare. We will. His thumb moved gently over her skin. I will not lose you to them, or to anyone. The certainty moving through the bond opened something inside Kara. I love you. Elias stared at her. The words had come without effort. I know this began as an agreement, but I love you, Elias. He kissed her in full view of the departing council delegates. When they separated, his smile was warm and unguarded. I love you too, little wolf, more than I believed I could love anyone. They returned to the Northern Territories with their hands clasped. The conflict with Crescent Moon was not finished. But they had won the first battle together. 3 days later, the retaliation began. Kara was training younger wolves in the courtyard when a wounded messenger stumbled through the gate and collapsed at her feet. Luna Queen, he gasped. The border patrol was ambushed. Crescent Moon wolves crossed into our territory. They are burning the Western farms. The Western farms housed 15 families, many with elderly wolves and young pups who could not defend themselves. Roderick. The warrior appeared. Gather every available fighter, full combat equipment. We leave now. Your Majesty, the Alpha King is meeting the territory lords in the capital. He is 3 hours away. Those families do not have 3 hours. Kara ran toward the armory. Through the bond, she felt Elias react to her fear. Western farms under attack. I am taking warriors. His answer came immediately. Do not engage without me. Wait. I cannot. Families are in danger. Frustration and fear surged from him, followed by reluctant understanding. Kara shifted and led 50 warriors west. They reached the farms 20 minutes later. 3 buildings were burning. Crescent Moon fighters were terrorizing the residents and preventing them from escaping. Kara did not wait. Her wolves needed her. She released a Luna's battle howl and attacked. Crescent Moon had sent 20 experienced warriors, but the Northern Territory wolves fought to protect their families and homes. Kara moved quickly between larger opponents. She disabled 2 before a massive gray wolf caught her shoulder between his jaws. Pain tore through her. Elias felt it through the bond. His answering fury struck her mind like thunder, but he was still too far away. The gray wolf shook her, attempting to break her neck. Kara twisted, used her smaller body to slip free, and locked her jaws around his throat. He released her with a cry. Before she could recover, a scarred female attacked. Blood poured from Kara's shoulder, slowing her movements. The female drove her toward a burning building. Not like this. Not after everything. A massive black wolf crashed into the battle. Elias had arrived with another 50 warriors. He tore through the Crescent Moon attackers with brutal efficiency. The scarred female turned to flee. Elias caught her in 3 strides. The surviving enemy wolves retreated across the border. Elias shifted and ran to Kara. Shift. Let me see your wound. Kara returned to human form. Blood streamed from the deep bite in her shoulder. Elias pressed his hand against it. Healer. Beneath his anger, Kara felt terror. I'm all right. The families are safe. You nearly died. What was I supposed to do? Wait while my wolves burned? You engaged without support. Would you have done anything differently? That is not the same. Why? Because you are the Alpha King, and I am only. Because losing you would destroy me. His voice broke through her argument. You are not only my Luna, you are my mate and my partner. I cannot lose you, Kara. I would not survive it. The healer arrived before she could respond. After cleaning the wound, she ordered Kara not to shift or train for 2 days. Agreed, Elias said before Kara could protest. Once the fires were extinguished and every family secured, Elias summoned his advisors to the war room. This was retaliation for the council meeting, Jesse said. Crescent Moon is sending a message. If we hurt them, they will hurt us. They attacked civilians, Luella added. They wanted the territory to believe its Luna could not protect them. Instead, she held the attackers until reinforcements arrived, Roderick said. The pack will see strength, not weakness. That strength makes her a larger target, Elias replied. His hand rested protectively on Kara's uninjured shoulder. They will attack again. What do you suggest? Kara asked. We end this before the investigation gives them time to destroy evidence and silence witnesses. Elias placed Randy's documents on the table. We can prove the financial crimes, but we still need evidence directly connecting Brent to Kara's attempted murder. The carriage driver, Kara said. Every face turned toward her. He drove us into the forest. Brent may have dismissed him before attacking me, but the driver can confirm the route and Brent's orders. Would a subordinate testify against his beta? Roderick asked. He will if we offer sanctuary, Elias said. Find him. Luella considered the documents. Bridget Hunter is the strategist. If Brent planned the murder, she probably knew. She will never confess, Jesse said. Perhaps she does not need to. Kara felt a plan forming. What if Bridget believes Brent has already confessed? If she thinks he is cooperating with investigators to save himself, she may panic. Elias's expression sharpened. You want to turn mother and son against each other. Brent is impulsive. Bridget knows that. If she believes he has betrayed the family, she may attempt to destroy evidence. Jesse smiled. That is devious. It is also dangerous, Elias warned. If Bridget recognizes the trap, she will retaliate. Then we make certain she understands too late. Kara stood, despite the pain in her shoulder. I will write a letter that appears to come from Brent. It will ask her to eliminate the remaining records. I can include details about the carriage, Wolfsbane, and his exact words before he pushed me out. Facts only Brent and I know. Panicked wolves make mistakes, Elias said. Kara nodded. You have learned strategy quickly. I had a good teacher. Flattery will not protect you if this fails. But he was smiling. They executed the plan over the following week. Kara wrote the message in a hurried, desperate style. A neutral rogue delivered it to Bridget at a border tavern, claiming it had been smuggled from Brent's holding cell. For 3 days, nothing happened. On the 4th, Randy Carpenter arrived at Thorn Ridge. It worked. Elias leaned forward. What did she do? Bridget attempted to bribe a council clerk for access to Brent. When that failed, she hired mercenaries to release him. She tried to break him out? The mercenaries were captured before reaching the holding cells. More importantly, Bridget sent orders to several Crescent Moon wolves, demanding that they destroy documents. Randy placed 3 intercepted messages on the table. They are effectively written confessions of a cover-up. Kara felt victory rising. And the carriage driver? We found him. He has accepted sanctuary and agreed to testify. He will confirm that Brent ordered the journey toward the border and threatened his family after dismissing him. Randy straightened. The council has summoned an emergency session in 3 days. All parties must appear, including you, Luna Queen. I will be there. After Randy left, Elias took Kara into his study. Are you ready to testify publicly about everything Brent did? I am. She touched the mark on her throat. I am no longer the wolf he abandoned. I am your mate, the Luna Queen, and I am finished being afraid. Elias pulled her close, careful of her shoulder. I am proud of you. You have mentioned it once or twice. This is almost over. Almost. One final battle. He lifted her chin. Then we can build our life instead of destroying theirs. What kind of life? The kind with you in it. Everything else is negotiable. His expression softened. Perhaps pups someday, if you want them. Kara had never allowed herself to imagine a future beyond survival. I would like that. When this is over, Elias promised, that is the future we will have. The emergency council session filled the grand hall beyond capacity. Every alpha who could reach the neutral territory had come, accompanied by advisors, betas, and witnesses. This case no longer concerned only Crescent Moon. It would determine whether powerful pack leaders could be held accountable under the same laws they imposed upon others. Before entering, Kara looked at Elias. "I want to see Brent's face when he falls." "My bloodthirsty little Luna." Pride moved through the bond. "That is my mate." They entered together. Brent sat in a guarded section with silver restraints around his wrists. Rolando and Bridget occupied a separate area under council supervision. Gerard Sparks called the chamber to order. "We are gathered to conclude the investigation into Crescent Moon's financial practices and the charge of attempted murder against Beta Brent Hunter." Randy presented his findings for more than an hour. He showed bank statements, falsified investment documents, victim testimony, and records proving that the Hunter leadership had stolen more than 2 million coins from its own pack. Then Kara was called forward. She stood before the council and described finding the ledgers. She explained Brent's attempt to force her silence. "He drugged me with enough wolfsbane to prevent shifting and slow my healing. Then he threw me from a moving carriage during a snowstorm." She looked directly at Brent. "He knew I could not heal, call for help, or survive the night." "These are lies," Brent shouted. "She ran away and became lost." "Then explain the carriage driver's testimony," Gerard said. The driver entered under guard. His hands trembled, but his voice remained clear. "Beta Brent ordered me to take the northern border road. When we reached a remote section, he dismissed me and threatened my family if I asked questions." He swallowed. "I did not leave immediately. I saw him force Lady Kara from the carriage. She struck the ground and did not move. He ordered me to remain silent." "You liar!" Brent lunged against his restraints. "I paid you well." The chamber became silent. Elias's voice cut through the stillness. "You paid him to conceal murder. That is not loyalty. It is conspiracy." Gerard stared at Brent. "Do you deny attempting to kill Kara Lawrence?" Brent's face twisted. "She was going to destroy my family. She threatened everything we had built." The admission settled over the hall. Guards pulled him back into his seat. Gerard pronounced judgment. Brent was stripped of rank and placed in permanent council custody for attempted murder, fraud, embezzlement, and conspiracy against his own pack members. Then Gerard faced his parents. "Alpha Rolando Hunter and Luna Bridget Hunter, the evidence proves your participation in the theft and your attempt to obstruct the investigation." He raised the official council seal. "You are removed from leadership of Crescent Moon Pack." Shock rippled through the hall. Removing an alpha was almost unheard of. "You cannot do this!" Bridget screamed. "We are Crescent Moon. That girl seduced the Alpha King with lies." "I survived," Kara said quietly. "That is my only crime." She met Bridget's furious stare. "I survived what your son did, and I refuse to remain silent. You will pay for this." Bridget fought the guards holding her. "The Moon Goddess sees your betrayal. Enough." Elias released an alpha command. Bridget fell silent instantly. "The Moon Goddess chose Kara as my mate. If you object to her judgment, take your complaint to the goddess herself." Rolando and Bridget were removed under guard. The council assigned temporary leadership to Crescent Moon until its surviving members could select a new alpha. Gerard turned to Kara and the refugees. "To every wolf harmed by Crescent Moon's leadership, this council offers its apology. You were failed by the wolves sworn to protect you." He looked directly at Kara. "You answered cruelty with courage and power with truth. You are an example of what a Luna should be." The hall rose in applause. Kara's eyes filled with tears. Elias took her hand. Through the bond, she felt pride and love so strong that it almost overwhelmed her. After the session, Dina Avila approached with the Campos and Rojas families. "We did it," Dina said. "We did it together," Kara corrected. "Your testimony gave the council no choice." "You gave us the courage to speak," Greg replied. You showed us that powerful wolves could be challenged. What will you do now? Kara asked. Some of us want to return when Crescent Moon has honest leadership. Others would like to remain in the Northern Territories. You will have a home whichever path you choose. On the journey back to Thorn Ridge, Kara rested against Elias. If you had chosen another road that day, or arrived 5 minutes later, but I did not. If you had assumed I was already dead and continued riding, I stopped. I found you. Elias turned her toward him. The moon goddess had a plan even when neither of us could see it. She gave me a mate strong enough to stand beside me, brave enough to fight her own battles and stubborn enough to negotiate while dying. Kara laughed through her tears. When they returned, the pack had prepared a celebration. The great hall filled with music, food, and laughter as Northern Territory wolves formally welcomed Kara as their Luna Queen. Luella pulled her aside. You have done well, Your Majesty, better than I expected. High praise from you. Do not become arrogant. But Luella smiled. The pack loves you. They would follow you into battle without hesitation. Later, Elias led Kara away from the celebration. He opened a small wooden box. Inside rested an old silver ring. This belonged to my mother. She gave it to my father when they mated. He lifted the ring carefully. She said it represented her promise to see him clearly, both his strength and his scars. Elias held Kara's hand. I want you to have it, not because tradition demands it, and not because strategy benefits from it. His silver eyes held hers. I choose you, Kara, every day, for the rest of my life. I choose you too. He slipped the ring onto her finger. Even though you are stubborn, overprotective, and incapable of expressing emotion without turning it into a political argument, I am improving. Slowly, he kissed her. Kara had once been abandoned by a wolf who considered her disposable. Now she had been chosen by a wolf who saw every wound, every weakness, and every strength, and loved her without conditions. Together, they had proven that even the coldest night could lead to a warmer future if one survived long enough to reach it. 6 months later, Kara stood on the eastern balcony of Thorn Ridge while sunrise painted the sky gold and rose. Her hand rested over the gentle curve of her stomach. She was 4 months pregnant. Elias approached from behind and covered her hand with his. Do you still hope for a daughter? A daughter with your eyes would be dangerous. A son with your stubbornness would be worse. Kara smiled. I do not care which the moon goddess sends. I only want our pup healthy. As do I. 6 months of peace had softened some of Elias's harder edges. He smiled more easily, laughed with the pack, and remained longer at celebrations instead of appearing only long enough to satisfy tradition. True happiness had changed them both. What did the message from Crescent Moon say? Kara asked. The new Alpha is asking for northern support while he rebuilds. Several refugees are considering returning. Months earlier, any connection to Crescent Moon would have filled Kara with fear. Now she felt only distance and cautious hope. If he truly intends to care for the pack, we should support him. Those wolves deserve honest leadership. Very diplomatic, Luna Queen. Elias kissed her forehead. You have come far from the injured wolf negotiating terms in a sickbed. That was not surrender. It was strategy. Before Elias could answer, Luella appeared at the balcony door. Your Majesties, 3 young wolves have arrived from Crescent Moon. They are requesting sanctuary. Kara turned immediately. Why? The new Alpha is their uncle. They claim he is arranging matings for political alliances without their consent. Kara's wolf rose inside her, protective and furious. Where are they? In the receiving hall. Kara headed toward the door. Elias gently caught her arm. You are pregnant. We do not yet know whether this is a trap. They are frightened wolves asking for help. I know. He followed her. But I will stand beside you while we confirm the truth. 3 young women waited in the receiving hall. They dropped to their knees when Kara entered. Please do not, Kara said. She sat across from them, rather than standing above them. You are safe. Tell me what happened. The eldest introduced herself as Tamara. Her sisters were Catherine and Eliza. Our uncle seemed better than Alpha Rolando at first. Then he began arranging political matings to strengthen Crescent Moon. Did he ask whether you accepted those matings? No, Your Majesty. Tamara's eyes filled with tears. We heard what you did, how you challenged the hunters and created a refuge for wolves with nowhere else to go. We hoped you might protect us too. I will. Kara looked at Elias. He nodded. You are under Northern Territory protection, he declared. Your uncle cannot force you to return or accept an unwanted mate. But he is our alpha, Catherine whispered. He has rights over his pack. He has responsibilities, Kara said. He does not own you. She turned to Jessie. Send a message to Crescent Moon. Any wolf seeking sanctuary here will be protected. Forced matings will not be tolerated. The new alpha will not appreciate losing 3 political alliances, Elias said. Then he may be unhappy. Kara's voice hardened. I will not allow what happened to me to happen to another wolf while I possess the power to stop it. Elias drew her close. This is why the moon goddess chose you. The 3 sisters became the first new residents of what soon grew into a formal sanctuary. More wolves followed. Some had escaped abusive leaders, others had been abandoned by families that considered them burdens. Widows arrived without money. Injured warriors came after being cast aside. Omegas fled forced matings and exploitation. The eastern wing of Thorn Ridge, originally prepared for the first refugee families, expanded to accommodate them. Kara devoted herself to organizing food, rooms, work, and protection. She mediated disputes and personally welcomed every new arrival. Elias watched with equal pride and concern. One night, he found Kara working in the sanctuary wing long after midnight. You need to rest. There are 3 new families arriving tomorrow. They will still arrive whether you sleep tonight or not. I have responsibilities. So do I. One of them is ensuring my pregnant mate does not collapse from exhaustion. When did you become the reasonable one? When I realized you never would. He led her toward their rooms. Kara wanted to argue, but fatigue had already defeated her. Elias pulled her against his chest after they entered the bed. Sleep, little wolf. The sanctuary will remain standing until morning. Through the bond, she felt his unwavering love and determination to protect her, even from herself. I love you, she murmured. I love you too, more than you understand. Several days later, Crescent Moon's new alpha arrived at Thorn Ridge, demanding the return of his nieces. Alpha Brian attempted to present the arrangements as traditional political matings. They were chosen to strengthen necessary alliances, he argued. Wolves sometimes sacrifice personal preference for the good of their pack. Without consent, those matings are little better than slavery, Kara said. You would say that because of your history with Brent. Not every arrangement resembles what happened to you. Every forced mating takes choice from the wolf expected to endure it. Brian turned to Elias. Your mate is interfering with the internal governance of my pack. Sheltering my members could be interpreted as aggression. No, Elias replied. She is protecting wolves who asked for help. He rose to his full height, allowing his alpha dominance to fill the room. But take your complaint to the council if you wish. I am certain they will be interested in your forced mating policies. Brian understood the threat. An official investigation could destroy what remained of Crescent Moon. He left without the sisters. Afterward, Kara released a breath. That could have created another war. You did what was right, Elias said. That is what makes you a true Luna. He rested one hand gently over her stomach. Our pup will have an extraordinary mother. Kara's eyes filled unexpectedly. Pregnancy is making me emotional. It is making you slightly easier to persuade into resting. And our pup will have an extraordinary father, one who supports his mate's difficult sanctuary plans despite the political trouble they create. They are not difficult plans. They are important. His expression became serious. What you are building is changing the way packs think about leadership. Kara looked at the wolf who had once offered her protection as part of a calculated arrangement. Somewhere between strategy, danger, and survival, he had become her partner in every sense. "All right," she said. "You may take care of me this once. I will accept whatever victories I can obtain." Months later, more than 60 wolves had found refuge at Thorn Ridge. But on that particular morning, Kara's attention belonged entirely to the 6-month-old pup in her arms. Her daughter had dark hair and bright silver eyes. They had named her Hope Collins, after the emotion that had carried Kara through the darkest night of her life. "She has her father's eyes," Luella said, "and his talent for issuing demands." Hope made an impatient sound and reached for Luella's braid. Luella caught her tiny hand. "The council is sending another delegation." Kara sighed. "That is the third this month. Word of the sanctuary has spread. Other packs want to establish similar programs and are asking for your guidance. I am not an expert. I only did what seemed right." "That is precisely why they trust you." Luella took Hope carefully. "Go. I will watch the little alpha. She and I need to discuss acceptable behavior during training." Kara kissed her daughter and went to Elias's study. He smiled when she entered. "How is our daughter?" "Currently attempting to conquer Luella. A dangerous opponent. She may have overestimated herself." "You mentioned another council delegation." "More than a delegation." Elias handed her a letter bearing Gerard Sparks's seal. "He wants you to speak at the annual Interpack Summit about the sanctuary and advise other territories interested in creating their own programs." Kara's eyes widened. "Speak before every alpha in the territories? You have already faced most of them under worse conditions." He took her hands. "Tell them what you have learned. Tell them compassion is not weakness." Kara remembered the distance between the dying wolf in the snow and the Luna Queen standing inside Thorn Ridge. "Will you come with me?" "Always. Wherever you go, I go." He kissed her forehead. "Though you do not need me to face them anymore." Before they could continue, Jessie entered. "Your Majesties, 50 wolves are waiting at the eastern border." "Refugees?" Kara asked. "No, warriors." Kara and Elias exchanged glances. "Who sent them?" Elias asked. "They come from Crescent Moon. Alpha Brian is dismantling what remains of the pack." An hour later, Kara and Elias stood at the border facing 50 battle-hardened wolves. A scarred warrior stepped forward. "My name is Aaron Darling." He bowed. "We heard what happened to the hunters. We heard how the Luna Queen survived them, created sanctuary, and protected wolves no one else valued." Aaron looked at Kara. "We want to serve leaders like you, an Alpha King who honors his mate, and a Luna who remembers every wolf beneath her protection." Kara studied the warriors. Many had served Crescent Moon for generations. Accepting them carried risk. "This decision cannot be made lightly. You are asking us to trust wolves trained by our former enemy." "We understand." Aaron held her gaze. "We are not asking for easy acceptance. We are asking for fairness and a place where our loyalty will matter." Kara looked at Elias. "It is a risk. Everything worth building is." Elias faced Aaron. "You will undergo integration trials, train beside Northern warriors, and answer to our pack council. Loyalty will be proven through action, not promises. We expect nothing less. Then welcome to the Northern Territories." Alpha authority carried through Elias's voice. "You are under my protection." The warriors bowed. As they were escorted toward Thorn Ridge, Kara watched the sun turn the sky orange and violet. "Crescent Moon is truly gone. The leadership that harmed you is gone," Elias said. "Its wolves still have futures. Does that feel like closure?" "It feels like justice, not the kind built on revenge, the kind built on repairing what was broken." Kara looked at him. "You chose to stop on that forest road. It was the best decision you ever made. Second best. What was the first? Marking you as mine. Very strategic. Extremely strategic. He smiled. Somewhere between strategy and survival, it became the most important choice of my life. They returned to the manor hand in hand. 3 months later, Kara waited behind the stage at the annual Interpack Summit. Hundreds of leaders filled the grand hall beyond the curtain. Elias stood beside her. What if I fail? You will not. What if they refuse to listen? Some will not. You are not required to change every mind in one speech. He smiled. Now go and show them why every territory is talking about its Luna Queen. Gerard Sparks's voice echoed through the hall. It is my honor to introduce Luna Queen Kara Collins of the Northern Territories. She will speak about sanctuary, compassion, and the future of relations between our packs. Kara inhaled slowly and walked onto the stage. Hundreds of eyes turned toward her. For one moment she remembered the cold road, the blood on her dress, and the certainty that no one was coming. Then she began. I once belonged to a pack whose leaders believed power gave them the right to exploit the vulnerable. Her voice carried through the hall. When I discovered their crimes, I was poisoned, injured, and abandoned in the snow. I survived because Alpha King Elias stopped, cared enough to check whether I was alive, and gave me the protection I needed to seek justice. She looked toward Elias, but more importantly, he gave me the opportunity to ensure other wolves would not suffer the same abandonment. Kara moved toward the center of the stage. The Northern Territory Sanctuary was not created from a grand political strategy. It began with one simple truth. She looked across the assembled alphas. Every wolf deserves protection, care, and dignity, not only the strong, wealthy, or powerful. I am not here to lecture anyone about morality. I am here to share what experience has taught me. Her voice strengthened. Compassion is not weakness. Protecting vulnerable pack members is not softness. It is the mark of true strength. A pack that cares for every wolf earns a loyalty that cannot be purchased, threatened, or forced. Several skeptical alphas shifted in their seats. Kara did not look away. The old belief that fear creates stronger packs is dying. It died when Crescent Moon collapsed beneath the weight of its own corruption. It dies every time a wolf chooses sanctuary over silent suffering. She gestured toward the leaders before her. Look within your territories. How many wolves are suffering without speaking? How many feel abandoned by the leaders sworn to protect them? How many would flee if they knew a sanctuary existed? Kara allowed the questions to settle. I once asked the council to listen to me. Now I ask each of you to listen to your own wolves. The injured, the frightened, and the powerless wolves, who need their leaders to become better. The Northern Territory Sanctuary will continue accepting any wolf who genuinely needs protection. Her expression softened. But my greatest hope is that one day sanctuaries will no longer be necessary, because every pack will already be safe for every wolf within it. She lowered her head. Thank you for listening. Thank you for considering change. The applause did not come from everyone, but it came from enough. It was a beginning. Elias waited behind the stage. That was extraordinary. Did I do well? You changed minds, opened hearts, and perhaps saved lives. He kissed her forehead. You were magnificent, my Luna. 6 months later, Kara stood inside a newly constructed sanctuary wing, while workers completed the final rooms. Tamara approached with another report. A widowed father has arrived with 3 young pups. He was injured during a border conflict and can no longer hunt. His alpha ordered him to abandon the pups or leave. He chose his children. Yes. Place them in the guest rooms. I will meet them shortly. Tamara left. Elias entered with Hope sitting on his shoulders. Their daughter laughed and pulled his hair. She has discovered a new weapon, Elias said. I may be bald before she learns to shift. Kara took Hope into her arms. Thank you. For bringing her? For everything. Elias shook his head. You never need to thank me for loving you. That is not a favor.